Good evening. Welcome to Democracy in Practice. My name is Nekaliuk, a program of good governance, well-being, and of course, where we insist that you and I should be the impacts of being under a democratic dispensation. On this program today, we're going to look at something that a lot of times we've not given attention to, and that is looking at farming, the planting season. Of course, you can recall that last week we had issue of looking at how sustainable can we feed the nation in case there is issues, how secured are we, talking about food security. But today we know that in no time the planting season will be here. How prepared is the federal government towards ensuring that we have a fruitful planting season this year? Of course, if we have a fruitful planting season, we will have a rich harvest and also have a reserve for food security, so that you and I can have food even when any issue arises. Even the farmers, how prepared are they? Have they have access to seeds? Do they have access to fertilizers? Remember that the federal government came out to say, that they have fertilizers at the subsidized rates. How accessible is that? And actually, these farmers, do they get these fertilizers at the subsidized rates? These are many more we'll talk on this program today. Of course, two farmers will join us again on this program to look at all that the federal government is doing, especially as the federal government say that they need to diversify the economy away from oil to agriculture, of course, and that should begin with planting. Of course, also, insecurity will not be left out of it, because we also know the report that they say, that farmers cannot go to farm anymore because they are scared of being kidnapped, being attacked also. How has the government been able to nip all this in bud to ensure that we have a fruitful planting season vis-a-vis yield and harvest season? Join us on this program today to look at this issue, or these issues rather. He's an economist, a lecturer with the Kaduna Polytechnic, and he's also a farmer. Abdullah Abubakar, good to have you here, sir.
Good evening, Neka. Nice to be with you.
Our second guest who just joined us is Musa Bala. He's also a farmer and also a political scientist. Good to have you here, sir.
Good evening, Neka. Good evening, viewers.
Yes, he came all the way from Abuja, but thank God you made it on this program today.
That's very correct.
All right, before you came in, we're looking at the planting season, and I asked the question, how important is this season to ensure that there is successful harvest here?
Well, as you know, farmers get ready sometime from January. Farmers started clearing whatever they want to clear from their farms. And at the same time, acquisition of seedling, fertilizer, and other herbicide and pesticides is going on as I'm talking to you now. But a lot of farmers, like in my farm, we have already finished everything. We're just waiting for the rain.
Okay.
And we have fertilizers also. The government have done so much. In fact, there are more than 5 to 7 million bags of fertilizer that is going on currently. In fact, in Kaduna Zone, the director in charge was even complaining that the patronage was not as expected from farmers.
Okay.
So,
at what rate? Because report making the round is that the federal government has provided fertilizers at a subsidized rate of 5,000 thereabout, but farmers still buy at a rate of 10,000 naira. Is that allegation?
No. That is not true. That is not true. The government fertilizer is sold at 5,500 naira.
Yes.
Government gave to distributors or marketers at the rate of 5,000 with an instruction, signed agreement to be sold at 5,500.
Yes.
And they are responding. And the government did very well to ensure that there was massive production, so that to stop them from hoarding. If you go to market now, I'm assuring you, go to our various local government stores, you get fertilizers.
Okay, how about the seedlings? Because we often had reports before now that that we don't have good seedlings. Someone told me that he had to go as far as getting from the US, and then it yields a lot of harvest for him. How about the seeds we have here?
I also imported from the United States.
Why?
It's because of the variety. Because
how do you mean variety?
The variety means that it's an improved seedling. Because the particular seedling we imported from US, you can be able to harvest about 9 to 12 tons per hectare, unlike the previous or the other side of the seedling, which you may hardly get 2 or 3. It's just a matter of changing the genetic of the seedling. Honestly speaking.
What is wrong with you getting a seed from Nigeria here and home here and then making use of it? Why important?
Our seed growers are not at the top yet.
Why?
Like any other sector, you cannot compare Nigeria with other countries in the world. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
They are always ahead of us in almost everything.
Even as little as having good seedlings for...
Seedling is just extremely too important that it's not a small issue, honestly speaking. It's a scientific revolution of which our country has not yet attained that level. It's unfortunate, but we have to go that way. In fact, not only maize, so many seedlings, including watermelon, beans, the improved seedling are sourced outside.
Okay.
And I sourced another one also from Ghana. That one too, honestly speaking, is better from that of Nigeria.
Ghana here?
Yeah.
It's better than what we have
no,
here?
it's a South African company in Ghana.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what you just explained now, I tend to say that in terms of seedling that we're not really prepared towards having a multiple, bountiful harvest like obtained there with the seedlings we have here.
You see, the biggest problem for Nigerian farmers, first and foremost, is the seedling. Because if you don't get good seedling, you're going to lose a lot. Followed by pesticides and herbicide. With these three things, there are a lot of adulterated herbicide now in the market. And if you want to get the good one also, you have to import it. And definitely you cannot farm in mass without using herbicide and pesticides.
All right. Let me come back to you. I listened to him mentioned that even watermelon is important to get fruitful harvest there. And I recall that when I was in Germany, I ate watermelon and I saw categories and I was asking myself, isn't this watermelon, why is it different from what I have here in Nigeria? Because the taste difference,
the size,
it's bigger. Yeah. I was like, because when I saw it, even the body, everything looks so different from what we have in Nigeria, and it's still watermelon. And when I ate them, I saw the difference. There's truly difference between the watermelon they have over there and what we have here. So why is this so? And the question is, can't we now find our way to get to that level? That's the question. It's not a 2-in-1 question.
Well, you see, it's about the synergy in our research institutions, the seed producers and marketers, and even the government. We have variety and so many research institutions related to agricultural activities. In Zaria, in Sokoto, in Kano, in Ibadan, you have the IIET, International in something agricultural research, International Tropical something Ibadan, and they are all working. So the issue is that of synergy and the political will to buy the seed, implement it, experiment it.
Okay.
But we are not doing it.
And see how we can have our own.
How we can have our own.
Okay.
If you go to Zaria, the Agricultural Research Institute, you see variety of seeds that are being developed. At least, even if it's not to the level of you have abroad, but at least it's better, far better than the local ones we have. But nobody cares. Government does not care. Company doesn't care. Individual doesn't care. And we get nowhere. So research findings end up being dumped. And every year you see professors, doctors, research papers in different areas of agriculture, but no actions are being taken. So our farmers, those that have the means and capacity to, their only end is to go abroad. And we are losing money, our economy is losing, and we are not moving forward. So it's about science and technology. If you don't emphasize on science and technology, because agriculture now is modernized.
Okay.
Agriculture now is mechanized, and it's driven by science and technology. So if we depend on our traditional method, we get nowhere. And we remain backward, we'll be left behind, and we'll never move forward.
No, it's not even just like, I also observed that with tomatoes. Because when I went there, I was very keen about eating their fruits. Even tomatoes, and I saw they have the varieties, and their tomatoes were totally different from what we have in Nigeria. And because before I went there, I had this notion that we are rich when it comes to tomatoes, we import tomatoes, but I saw that they had better tomato. It tastes sweeter than what we have here. And then coming back home, not quite long, we had now Ebola tomatoes, tomato Ebola. What is it called?
So many issues. When you go to that area, there are agricultural produce that are called organic. There are those ones that are called GMO, genetically modified.
Okay.
That's inorganic.
Those are the inorganic.
Okay.
The organics are those ones that are produced naturally. Of course, here we are lucky that at least, even though we are not moving forward, our produce are natural because they are organic. Most of the produce you see in Europe and America, some of them are inorganic.
Organic, okay.
They are genetically modified.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is. Nigeria is yet to adopt it, maybe for health reasons. There are still a lot of suspicion that in the area of medical care and other issues, Nigeria is yet to adopt it.
Okay.
There's a lot of speculation that the inorganic or genetically modified, they have some health implications.
I know that's what you're talking about, yes. So it's not good for our health. That's not shell.
Well, that is the speculation going around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me come back to you, Mr. Bala. Now, having listened to both of you, established that, when it comes to seedling, we're not really there. We still have a lot of homework to do if we must have a rich harvest. Now, how about controlling of the pesticide? Because over the years, we've heard that pests they do a lot of danger to our farm produce. As we enter 2018, have the government made any alternative? Are there any new improvements towards ensuring?
You see, before I go into that, let me explain the role of science in almost everything, including farming. Okay. When we talk of mechanized farming, we are simply talking about science. If you go to most of these countries outside, you will see unmanned tractors, controlled by GPRS. You will see they'll be planted, they will be working throughout the day. And whether we like it or not, based on our population, we have to adopt these genetic modified seedlings for us to meet up our food security demand. We can no longer rely on the normal organic. It cannot take us anywhere. We have to. Even coming back to your question now, the pesticide. One of the major problems we're having here is the adulteration. It can be done outside, it can be done within the country. You spend a lot of money, millions of naira to buy pesticides or insecticides. At the end of the day, last year we had problem of armyworm.
Yeah, it was a massive problem last year as we had it.
It affected so many countries in Africa, and so many farmers in Nigeria lost so much. Yeah. We were very lucky. I had to tackle it. I had to go to very far to get the right pesticide to continue spraying for more than 3 times.
And you were not affected? You were able to control?
I was affected, but at the same time, I controlled 100%. Okay. My yield was okay, but I know how much I spent. That's the problem. And it's not every farmer have that contingency fund, maybe after planting, applying fertilizer, only for you to realize that you are not being attacked by armyworms. Probably if you don't have the money, if there's nothing you can do, you lose everything. So
what can be done to forestall it? Now that we're here again.
Standard Organization of Nigeria and NAFDAC are trying very well to ensure that pesticides and insecticides are coming to the country are genuine. I don't know why we cannot produce it here, or I don't know why the government cannot force this factory to set factories in Nigeria so that we start getting this thing here. But farmers are losing. Nigeria is losing. This seedling, if I tell you now that 13 to 15 kg costs about 48,000 naira, you'll be very shocked and surprised. It's so expensive that not everybody can afford it, even the improved seedling. And the good herbicide and this thing, it's not everybody that can afford it. Maybe they resort to the adulterated one. And by the time that they buy it, they spray it, it hardly works. So the whole thing turned out to be lost again. So peasant farmers are not actually making it in Nigeria due to adulteration of all these things I mentioned. Even the seedling. Our Nigerian company are buying just grains. color it, and sell it. By the time that you plant it, you get nothing after spending almost everything. So the challenge in agriculture is very huge, honestly speaking. Only the only few privileged, let me use this word, that go extra mile to ensure that they get the right material,
and that demand a lot of finance,
a lot of money, a lot of time. You can imagine somebody importing seedling from the United States of America.
Yeah, okay. Let's move because we don't have time. Okay, let's look at mechanized farming. How mechanized are we talking about? Adopting, where going away from one man, one hold, one seed. No, how have we been able to pace off? Because our large population and the fact that we need to feed this nation, have we been able to meet up?
Well, mechanization is near zero. I wouldn't say it's not happening, but it's near zero, because if you go to typical rural areas, and that is where agricultural productivity is taking place, you see a local government probably with a population of 150,000 people, maybe 80,000 people, near 80-90% of them are farmers. You hardly see one functional tractor.
One functional tractor?
I'm saying this to you. Some of the local government, you hardly see one functional tractor. Even when you see the tractors packed, those tractors are not operating, they are not working. One thing or the other is missing, and they are not performing. So there's a lot of problem, and it's not only the tractor, there are so many different types of equipment. And agriculture is not only about the mechanization itself, the value chain, the processing. All these things require equipment and machineries, and we don't have them. You have the planter, the reagents, you know, so many. Those that spray, fertilizer, those that spray chemicals, you know, those that harvest. Different types of equipment are there, and none of these equipment are available to the reach of a typical, even average farmer in Nigeria. Maybe only the higher class.
Yeah.
And in a local government or two, you hardly find one. Yes. So they are not available.
Wow. And with all that is being estrayed now, would you say truly that by the end of each farming year, harvesting year, that we can harvest enough to feed our nation and also have our food reserve to have security? I'm coming back to you now.
For now, I'm sure we're not going to have enough to feed ourselves, but we're improving almost on yearly basis. Like you rightly said, before you get all this equipment, it has to be very independent. We are able to acquire tractors on heavy loans. We are able to acquire planter. It plant with fertilizer. It plant and put fertilizer. We got reaper, harrow, and other equipment.
Personally, individually, you're able to do that.
Of
now,
course.
How can the government come in to help? And then, if the government comes in too, how do they not benefit?
Honestly,
because that's another thing.
Honestly speaking, government is trying very well. It is the people that are sabotaging the effort of the government.
When you say people, who? The farmers?
Both the farmers and the civil servant. If you go to most of these local government, that you hardly find one tractor. I'm assuring you get more than 10 pack.
Why? What's happening?
Lack of maintenance and sabotaging. If you just park a tractor, somebody will come and remove something. That is the people in charge.
Who was in charge then? Because I just want to understand.
If local government buy tractor for the people of that local government, it's supposed to work for the people of that local government at a subsidized rate.
Right, okay.
The same people that are enjoying this, the same people that will be sabotaging. It starts with the operators or the officials of the local government. They may not return money from that. And if you don't return money and from the work, then you cannot have money to maintain them. So by the time that you pack one tractor, you have 3 working, for example. When those 3 are working, something spoiled. Instead of you to go and buy it or replace it, you will now remove it from that pack tractor.
Yeah.
So that is how we sabotage government effort in this country.
So it's corruption.
We have to tell ourselves the basic truth. And all I said boils down on corruption. So for now, with the kind of our attitude, government cannot be able to maintain farming equipment in Nigeria, honestly speaking. Just as the government is trying its best to run away from business. That's the only way out. Or else we'll continue to sink. What I would suggest is that get a real farmers. Give them this equipment, give them conditions.
One-on-one?
Yes. If you give them the conditions, they have to meet up. There are a lot of serious and committed true farmers and there are civil servant farmers. If they are watching, they understand what I'm saying.
Talking about.
They only care about...
But when you say civil servant farmers, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to those civil servants that use the name of agriculture to enrich themselves. Through fertilizer, through herbicide, seedling, equipment, and so on and so forth. They are just interested...
At the detriment of the farmer.
At the detriment, not only the farmer, but the country at all. They are just interested in ensuring that, okay, government acquire this, and they now corner it to their own use, and refuse to maintain it. And you know, this planting season you are talking is a window opportunity. Once that you miss it, you've missed it for that year. Because in Nigeria, we're only making best use of rainy season.
Yeah.
We are yet to improve very well on irrigation system. So by the time that you miss out in that period, you hardly make a good harvest. We don't have option, we have to continue importing, and what the government can do is to ensure that an institute of research is put in place with all necessary support.
We have Institute of Research. I've come across them.
I said with all necessary support.
Okay, such as?
Such as freedom to decide when to do their work, how to do their work, and financial independence. And the target must be there, and they have to get to the target. Honestly speaking, if they are given this, we'll get it right.
Government coming in, of course, to assist the people, the farmers.
Well, you see, the challenges are so much for the government, so much that even looking for where to start and where to attack is an issue. Like it's mentioning the Anko Barua issue.
Yes.
It's another approach to make it easy for the farmers so that they can have access to financial support, they can have access to the market, they can have access to the input, including fertilizer and seed and whatever.
Yeah.
And when they produce, the buyers are ready also to buy at a agreed price. But that is not enough. Like you said, we need to have a strategy. Nigeria is vast, vast land, different ecological zones. Yes, and producing different kinds of crops. So if we can prioritize each area, determine, itemize, or identify what can grow better in that area, so that concentration can be given to it.
Yes, go to the east, cassava, comes here, maize, I get your point.
Yes, so a kind of what they call comparative advantage.
All right,
each area having its own comparative advantage.
Okay, let me have you chip in.
The federal government should ensure that private organization, honestly speaking, there's no option to that. Private organizations are given the opportunity with target points to ensure that things are done well. Seedling, fertilizer, pesticide, and all these things. If government allow interested and true private sector to solve these problems, we are going to have bumper harvest in Nigeria. And definitely, I'm assuring you, if government allow foreign companies to come in and set up all these industries, our problem will be solved.
And we can pride in diversifying agriculture.
Exactly. And our indigenous company will now chip in and grow with them. At the end of the day, food security will be ensured.
Thank you so much, my guests, for being on the program today. They said, yes, we can have food security if the government do the needful, and that they just listed. Thank you so much. Musa Bala, he's a farmer and also a principal scientist, and also my guest, Abdullah Abubakar, he's a farmer and an economist. Thank you both for being on this program today.
Thank you very much.
My name is Nakaliuk. Of course, remember that a hungry nation cannot stay. We need food to stay alive. Go nowhere. Our news comes at 6 p.m. Bye for now.
Democracy in practice.